Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you're watching this. We're back. We're sorry about last week. We just being on vacation in Utah, we missed our opportunity. We did record one when we were in Utah, but then
we missed it when we got home.
And we missed it when we got home. So we apologize for that. So today, real quickly, what today we'd like to do is just look at the last 4 chapters in the book, Not a Fan, that we've read. Chapters 8, 9, 10, and 11, and just kind of summarize those 4 before we kind of launch in to the next 2 chapters that we'll be reading through this week.
Right. And we agree that it was part of our homework was to look at the passage in Luke 9 and really hone in on verse 23, which says, Jesus says, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. And it was so interesting that he said, almost all Christians know John 3:16 by heart. We know we have to believe, but what about this one? Why don't we know this one by heart, where it's what Jesus says is his, the DTR for him. That's how he defines the relationship.
Well, believing, and it's mentioned in those chapters too, that believing is important, John 3:16, but the belief is really demonstrated just as an important word as believing is following, because I think we recently talked about it in a Sunday school class too, that even the demons believe and they tremble, but they don't follow. And so could that be the definition of fan versus follower? Follower is one who believes and follows. And I think where he starts there in chapter 8 is the fact that this is really open to anyone. There is no restrictions. Anyone can deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow him. It's open to any and all.
Yes, which is great news for all of us, especially those of us who were really in a bad way when we came to know him. And then chapter 9 moves into the come after me. I wonder if that was a surprise for some of you, as it was kind of new language for us. That Jesus says, come after me. It's a real verb there. And how the author, talks about pursuing a romantic interest and what that looks like, and how that was intentionally the verbiage Jesus wanted to use, because he knows those are pretty much the most important relationships that we value. Yeah. And he's like, okay, but here first.
And I think the other thing that Jesus even said when he called his disciples, and his disciples said, it was that idea of come and see. Come and see. It was always an invitation to come and be this passionate follower of Jesus. It's not just believing it, but it's the following, and it's the invitation is to anyone to come.
Absolutely. And, he says our honeymoon with God should never be over. We should never lose the passion that we had right from the start, because there's always something new to discover about him. I certainly can attest to that. Of all the passages of the Bible I've read, some repeatedly, there's always something new. Not new as in it's not there, but he reveals something new to us that applies to the time that we're at. And then he kind of shifts. He shifts from the open invitation, the come after me intentionally, passionately, and talks about, this is where we get into the sticky stuff that we don't always hear in a lot of sermons. And, it's not super American, but to totally deny ourselves, a surrender to Jesus.
And Jesus is saying that in Luke 9:23, if you want to be a disciple, deny yourself. You have to make a decision that you're going to set yourself aside, your desires aside, and you're going to follow after Jesus and his decision and his plan for your life. And that there is that daily denial that needs to take place. And as he says in the book here, we sometimes try to deny ourselves,
we compartmentalize.
Yeah, we fail to deny ourselves, and we compartmentalize things, and we say, okay, Jesus, you can have control in this area, but I'm going to keep control over here. And denying ourselves is giving up everything, all of our life, to him, and really seeking to follow him in everything that we would do.
Yeah. And, we look at that as so negative, I think. I know when I read chapters like this, I try to think, well, what has it cost me to follow the Lord? And we talked about this early in these recordings. And in this one, the really denying yourself. Think about it. When was the last time you wanted something and you felt like God was saying, I don't want that for you. And you literally denied yourself and you said, you know what? I'm not going to do it. This is an obedience. I'm going to surrender my will and be obedient to him. And when we do it, it's so hard. That initial, I think that the want to is more hard than the doing. But once we get in the zone, we're like, oh, right, this is part of it. This is how we do it. The slavery, he talks about slavery. That's a hot button in America right now. But it didn't you love the way he described it? It's a willingness to be a slave, not being taken against your will. Nothing is being forced on you. You're willingly saying, I'm going to be your slave. I'll do whatever you want. I'll go wherever you go. I'll wherever you want me to go, and I'll do whatever you want me to do.
All those concepts tied in together about being a disciple, following, and it's that willingness that I'm going to deny myself everything that is my maybe right or what I think is right for me, and I'm going to become the slave of Jesus and follow him. In a sense, as we see in other places throughout the New Testament, we submit ourselves to him and we become his servant. He's the master, we're the servant.
And then in chapter 11, he just drills it down to take it even further, which is it's daily. And so often when I talk to women in marriages, young women usually, I will say, it is a daily laying down your life for the other person. It's a daily dying to self. To have a healthy, successful marriage, it's a daily dying to self. You're never going to have a successful marriage if it always has to go your way and it's my way or the highway. One of us probably tried that more than the other. I'm not going to say who. But anyway, let me just say it doesn't work. And I think Jesus so much says, just trust me. And I think my big takeaway and my thought concluding here is it is not negative. It is, I'm not losing anything when I daily surrender to him. When we first come to faith, sometimes I was a teenager when I was first introduced to the gospel, and I was so afraid I wasn't going to have any fun anymore and all the good things were going to be taken away. And 3 decades in now, I can say 4 decades in almost, just say, no way. Jesus is way more fun than you think. And his boundaries are for our good. We're so nervous about not getting what we want, when in reality, he's saying, do it my way. Lay down your will, and I'm going to take care of all your needs. I'm going to love you more than anybody else is going to love you. I'm going to give you a future. I'm going to give you a present. I'm going to give you everything you need to delight in and to follow me. Is it going to be hard? Oh, yes. Are we going to have to lose some things along the way? For sure. But it's worth it because it's all about that relationship, the number one relationship.
Yeah, and we'll just close with this too. This whole idea of denying ourselves, taking up the cross, and following. I think it's just, I'm looking at the book again one last time as I was looking down there while Angela was talking, is this reminder that what happened when they took a cross? What was the end result of taking a cross? The end of the cross was a death. And so basically what Jesus is saying here, I want you to put yourself to death in that you're putting to death your will, your desires, and you're willing to just obey Jesus and follow him. Mm-hmm. And I'm taken by that we are dead to our sin, but now we're alive in Christ, and we make that decision to do that. And so as he says here, dead people aren't concerned with how nice their clothes are. Dead people aren't caught up in how much money it is in their account. Dead people aren't always thinking about getting the promotion. The point is that death is the ultimate surrender of yourself and all that you have. When you're dead, you're no longer concerned with your life. And we want to be concerned and consumed with Jesus and follow him because he will do what is best for us. And we're confident of that.
Absolutely. So have another wonderful week studying through our homework that's going to come up on the screen, and we'll read 2 more chapters of the book, and we'll be back here next Sunday night to discuss it. And as always, when you see us around, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we are changing because we're reading this book.
And we're glad that you're joining us. I know that there were some of you that were texting me, sending me messages saying, hey, where's the video? Did I miss it? So that's encouraging to know that you're looking for it. And so keep up the good work, and we will be back with you next week. So enjoy.